Hey guys, today I'm going to show you this MOC that I created. Well, actually updated, because this is the Spaceship MOC that I made a while ago, and now it's updated, bigger, bulkier, and it actually doesn't fit in my studio that well. So there's the full thing, and it's hard to get an angle with this, but as you can see, there's a lot more details going on. There's some wings, and more wings. And this time you can actually take this apart, like take more things off besides the main escape pod that was in last time. This time, you get the escape pod, these side parts. Oops, that broke. This is a MOC, so there are no instructions, and they're usually fragile. So there's these side parts. This little car, when you land on a planet, you can explore it with a car. When you land on a planet, you can explore it with this little plane thing, jetpack plane, and you can also explore the land with this boat, this small boat. Now, first let's get into the main ship without the extra attachments. The main ship has two long wings pointing forward, and this was inspired by a Pokemon named Vikavolt. It's not my favorite Pokemon, but it inspired the design of this ship. It also has a bunch of wings, and these are actually bombs, but also energy tanks, so they power the ship, and you can also drop them. Since they're so fragile, you can drop them on purpose, and they'll explode. With your imagination, you could think of that. These wings aren't supposed to be moved, but it's just to cover up this strange shaped gap right there. This is where you put the glider. The car just sits there, and the boat sits on a jumper. These parts move. There's stud shooters here that are there for no reason besides decoration, and the back has these wings that you can fold, and these other wings that are on an angle, and they're stuck there with a little thing underneath. Now let's take a look at the other builds. This part of the ship is actually my escape pod. In case the rest of the ship blows up, I can quickly escape with this pod. And it just comes off of this little Technic part on the ship, which is this part. It's attached to somewhere on the ship, and it just attaches like that. So it's secure on the ship, but it can also fly off easily from this jumper right here. And this is basically the same as the old version of the pod, except it has these side details. It's missing the two things coming down from the sides. It still has these axe pieces. The bottom's a little bit different, and this sticker is actually from Go Brick Me. I just put it on because I thought it looked cool. And this dish piece is kind of like a shield, if you think of it that way. And like before, you can only fit one minifigure. This is the closest minifigure I have to me right now. This is the one that's closest to me. That's what I meant. You can only fit one minifigure inside this, and it'll be laying down if it'll on the ship. And you can also stand it like before, and it's a little bit different this time because it's like that, and that's what it looks like standing. It also has different modes that I just came up with. This is hover mode, since it has these two blue dish pieces. It seems like it could just hover off the ground. And this is like a fast mode, because this blue piece and this blue piece seem like they would work together to push you off into space. So that is the main escape pod. There are also these two side escape pods for friends, or if the main escape pod isn't working, like that'll happen. And they're identical to each other, except they're like mirrored. So let's look at the right escape pod. If you're looking at it this way, it's the right escape pod. And it has some details on this one wing that it has. It has this little engine here, and this is supposed to be like a little exhaust pipe instead of an engine. And this wing is for like steering, and it can be rotated in any direction. It just gets in the way of this, or this thing gets in the way of the wing, so that's the only limitation to it. And you can put one minifigure inside the escape pods. And that's exactly the same thing for the other escape pod right here. So there's that. And these three vehicles are like for exploration of a new planet. Like, let's say Blade 8, the spaceship, lands on a planet. And if the planet is like ground mostly, you could just take the car, and it's just a small car that you can put one minifigure in. There's no controls, so, and I tried to make it like as small as possible so that it would fit onto the ship. And there are these wing pieces that they're not supposed to come out, but they're just to cover the wheel there. Too bad it doesn't cover this wheel. And that's the car. It's a super simple build, really small. And if the planet is like a gassy planet or too hard to drive on, you could get this little glider jetpack thing, which is actually inspired by the glider from Nightwing, Batman and Nightwing set. I forgot what it was called, but this is the design for that. Like, I got that idea from that. And these little things can move up and down, which I'm not sure what they do. They're just there to look really cool. And the last one is if the planet is more liquidy and there's almost nowhere to land, you could just put someone on a boat and just explore it that way. So basically, this spaceship, Blade 8, was made for exploration because of the 3 vehicles. It was meant to be really fast because of the little exhaust engines everywhere, and also to look good. To look good because it looks good, or I think it looks good. Some people say it's a bit chunky, but it's okay. I still think it's one of my best creations ever. Well, that's all for this video. Thanks for watching now. See you in the next one. Bye. Oh. Part of it still lives.